Ever feel like you're giving more than you're getting? Like you're always there for your friends, but when you need them, suddenly they're busy or nowhere to be found? It's a frustrating, lonely feeling, and sometimes it makes you question your own worth. But let me tell you this, the problem isn't you, it's about respect. Respect is the foundation of any real friendship. Without it, you're not building a strong connection. You're just dragging around people who see you as convenient, not valuable. And that's not fair to you. In real friendships, respect is not a bonus, it's a basic requirement. It's about being heard, valued, and treated like an equal, not someone who's there to be used or ignored. If you've ever found yourself doubting whether your friends truly respect you, it's time to stop second-guessing. Because today, we're diving deep into 5 brutal signs that your friends don't respect you. Not the small, harmless mistakes everyone makes. I'm talking about clear, undeniable behavior that shows they don't value you the way you deserve. And more importantly, I'm going to show you exactly how to put them in their place, without losing your cool, without begging for their approval, and without losing a shred of your own self-respect. This is about more than just calling people out. It's about becoming someone who demands respect without even raising their voice. Someone who doesn't chase after people who don't treat them right. So if you're ready to stop settling, to see the truth for what it is, and to step into your real power, stay with me. Because after today, you won't just notice the disrespect, you'll know exactly what to do about it. The first thing you need to understand is this. Real respect always starts with boundaries. Boundaries are like invisible lines that protect your time, your feelings, and your energy. They're not walls to keep people out. They're rules that show others how you expect to be treated. When your friends constantly cross those lines, even in small ways, it's one of the clearest signs they don't truly respect you. And it's not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's sneaky. Sometimes it's hidden behind jokes, guilt trips, or little harmless favors that leave you feeling uncomfortable. Maybe you've told a friend you don't like certain jokes about your personal life, but they keep doing it anyway and laugh it off like you're being too sensitive. Or maybe you set a limit and said you're busy, but they show up at your house uninvited because they miss you and think it's cute. These may seem small at first, but they're not. Disrespect doesn't usually kick down the door. It slides in through cracks, one tiny boundary crossed at a time, until one day you realize you're carrying a mountain of resentment that you never agreed to carry. The thing about people who cross boundaries is that they often test you slowly. They'll start with a small thing, like borrowing something without asking. If you let that slide, next time it might be something bigger, asking for your time, your energy, even your forgiveness, when they clearly don't deserve it. They're watching how much you're willing to tolerate, and every time you stay silent, they take a little more. It's not always because they're evil or cruel. Sometimes they're just selfish. They're used to thinking that their needs matter more than yours. And if you don't speak up, they'll keep believing it. So how can you spot a boundary violator early? Pay attention to how you feel around them. Do you leave conversations feeling drained, annoyed, or invisible? Do you notice that you're often doing things you don't really want to do just to keep the peace? Respectful friends listen when you say no. They don't argue, guilt trip, or laugh it off. If someone keeps pushing even after you've made yourself clear, you're not dealing with a friend. You're dealing with someone who sees you as an option, not a priority. Now you might be wondering, what do I do when someone crosses the line? You don't have to scream or create drama. Actually, the most powerful thing you can do is stay calm and firm. Here's a simple way to handle it. First, name the behavior. Second, state how it makes you feel. Third, set a clear limit. For example, you can say, "Hey, I know you might be joking, but when you make fun of me in front of others, it actually makes me feel really disrespected. I don't find it funny, and I'd like you to stop." No anger, no shouting, just clear, steady words, and then watch what happens. Real friends will take you seriously. Fake friends will get defensive, mock you, or try to make you feel guilty for speaking up. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a guy named Sam who always hung out with a group of so-called friends who loved to tease him. At first he laughed it off because he didn't want to seem uptight. But over time the jokes got crueler, and he started feeling smaller every time he was around them. One day, after yet another night of being the punchline, he decided he'd had enough. He calmly told them that the jokes were hurtful, and he wasn't going to be around people who disrespected him anymore. Some of them laughed, but one or two actually apologized. The rest, they drifted away. And honestly, that was the best thing that could have happened. Sam didn't lose real friends that night. He lost people who never valued him in the first place. That's the real lesson. Setting boundaries doesn't push away true friends, it reveals them. If someone walks away when you stand up for yourself, let them. You're not losing anything worth keeping. You're making space for people who see your worth without needing to be reminded. Sometimes the disrespect isn't about crossing physical boundaries. It's about how they treat your emotions. One of the biggest signs your friends don't respect you is when they constantly dismiss your feelings or opinions. And again, it's often done so casually that you might not even notice how much it's hurting you at first. You open up about something that's bothering you, and they quickly wave it off with lines like, "You're overreacting," or "It's not that big of a deal." Maybe you try to share your excitement about something important to you, and they meet you with a bored shrug or change the subject. Every time it happens, a little piece of you feels smaller, even if you can't quite explain why. Emotional invalidation is one of the quietest forms of disrespect. It tells you, without using those exact words, that your feelings don't matter, that your experiences aren't worth listening to. And the more it happens, the more it chips away at your self-esteem. You start second-guessing yourself. You wonder if you're too sensitive or if maybe your opinions really are silly. Over time, you might even stop speaking up at all because somewhere deep down, you start to believe that your voice doesn't deserve to be heard. But here's something important to understand. Disagreeing with someone is not the same thing as dismissing them. Healthy friendships can absolutely have different opinions. You might love one movie, and your friend might hate it. You might believe something strongly, and your friend sees it differently. That's fine. That's normal. The difference is that respectful friends can disagree with you without making you feel stupid, crazy, or invisible. They listen. They say things like, "I see where you're coming from," even if they don't agree. They make space for your feelings, even when they don't fully understand them. Dismissive friends don't do that. They shut you down. They make you feel like your emotions are a burden, like your opinions are wrong just because they're different. And when you stay silent just to keep the peace, you're not really keeping the peace. You're just bottling up resentment. Every time you bite your tongue, you teach them that it's okay to steamroll you. You give away a little bit of your power without even realizing it. Silence might feel easier in the moment, but in the long run, it just creates a friendship that's completely one-sided. where their feelings matter and yours don't. So how do you stand your ground without turning it into a big argument? You use clear, assertive communication. It doesn't have to be aggressive. In fact, it's stronger when it's calm and direct. A simple formula you can use is, I feel X when you Y because Z. For example, you might say, I feel hurt when you tell me I'm overreacting because it makes me feel like my feelings aren't important. Notice how you're not attacking them. You're not yelling. You're just stating your experience in a way that's impossible to argue with. Because your feelings are valid, even if they don't understand them. And then, just like with boundary crossers, pay attention to their response. A real friend will listen. They might not get it perfectly, but they'll care enough to try. They'll apologize if they made you feel bad, and they'll do better next time. A disrespectful friend, on the other hand, will double down. They'll get defensive, make it about them, or tell you you're being too sensitive again. That's when you know you're dealing with someone who isn't safe for your emotions. Think about it this way. Your feelings are like the early warning system of your soul. They tell you when something is wrong. They tell you when you're not being treated the way you deserve. If your friends can't respect that, if they can't make space for the real you, messy feelings and all, then they're not really your friends. And the sooner you stop making excuses for them, the sooner you can start building friendships where you don't have to constantly explain or defend who you are. Once you start noticing how your feelings are treated, you also begin to see other patterns you might have ignored before. Another brutal sign your friends don't respect you is when they only reach out when they need something. It's that familiar feeling. The phone lights up, and before you even open the message, you already know it's going to be a favor, not a real check-in. This is what's called a transactional friendship. It's less about real connection, and more about what you can offer them at the moment. In these types of friendships, you're not really seen as a person. You're seen as a resource. Maybe you're the emotional therapist who listens to all their problems but never gets the same support back. Maybe you're the taxi driver who's always giving them rides. Maybe you're even the bank, the one they hit up whenever they're short on money or need a quick fix. It doesn't always show up in huge ways right away. At first, it's little things, borrowing stuff without returning it, asking for help without ever offering it back, expecting you to drop everything for them but disappearing when you need something. Over time, you start realizing that the friendship only flows one way, from you to them. The sad thing is, it drains more than just your time and energy. It chips away at your confidence too. You start feeling like your only value comes from what you can do for others, not from who you are. You begin doubting if people really like you for you, or just for what you can provide. And honestly, it's exhausting. No one can carry a friendship alone. It's supposed to be a two-way street, giving and receiving, supporting and being supported. When you're stuck in a cycle where you're always giving and rarely receiving, you're not in a real friendship. You're in a transaction. And you deserve better than that. Recognizing the pattern is the first step. Think about the last few times your so-called friend contacted you. Was it to genuinely check on how you're doing? Was it to share good news? Or a funny story? Or was it to ask for something? Your time, your energy, your money? If every interaction feels like a job or a favor, it's not friendship. It's using. And the more you say yes just to keep them happy, the more trapped you become in that role. But you're not helpless here. You can shift the dynamic without turning into a cold or bitter person. It starts with setting conditional availability. meaning you're not available all the time for everything. You get to choose when you help, based on your energy, your mood, and your willingness. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to you. And a big part of protecting yourself is practicing what some people call the power of no. It's simple, but powerful. You don't have to explain yourself endlessly. You don't have to feel guilty saying, "Sorry, I can't help with that right now," is enough. You're allowed to have boundaries around your time and energy, just like you have with your emotions. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to being the dependable one. You might worry they'll get upset or even disappear. And here's the hard truth. If someone stops talking to you just because you stopped being constantly available for them, they were never really your friend to begin with. They were just using you. And as painful as it is to realize that, it's also freeing. It makes space for real friends, people who love you, not just what you can do for them. Real friends don't just show up when they need something. They show up because they want to be there. They celebrate your wins, sit with you during your losses, and make time for you even when there's nothing in it for them. And once you experience that kind of friendship, you'll wonder why you ever settled for anything less. Continuing from the last section, let's dive into another painful sign that your friends might not have the respect they should for you. When they belittle your success or growth. Now, if you've ever had a moment where something amazing happens to you, maybe you get a promotion, start a new project, or achieve something you've been working on for a while, and instead of celebrating with you, your friends act weird. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe they make sarcastic comments, brush it off like it's no big deal, or even worse, act like your success is somehow a threat to them. It's like the moment you shine, they get dimmer. And that's not how real friends behave. True friends are supposed to be your biggest cheerleaders. They're the ones who genuinely feel happy for you when you win, who get excited to hear about your progress, and who want to see you rise. But when fake friends respond to your achievements with jealousy, sarcasm, or indifference, that's a major red flag. If your success makes them uncomfortable, it's not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of them. And here's the thing. If your friends don't celebrate your growth, it reveals something deep about the kind of relationship you actually have. True friends should be inspired by your growth, not threatened by it. They should see your success as proof that anyone can succeed, not as a reminder of what they haven't accomplished yet. It often starts with subtle put-downs disguised as jokes or advice. You might hear things like, "Oh, look at you, now you're too good for us," or, "Yeah, well, just don't get too full of yourself," or even, "That's nice, but you should be careful. Success can change people." At first, it might sound like a lighthearted joke, but when this kind of behavior becomes a pattern, it's clear that they're not supporting you. They're trying to bring you down, maybe without even realizing it. These small comments might seem harmless, but over time, they start to chip away at your confidence and make you question whether your victories are really worth celebrating. The psychology behind this jealousy is pretty common in friendships, but it's still something that can be hard to spot. Envy is a natural emotion, but how it shows up in friendships is what matters. A true friend can feel a little twinge of jealousy, but will quickly shift that energy into something positive, like rooting for you even more or finding inspiration in your achievements. But a friend who feels insecure about themselves might project that onto you. They might belittle your success to make themselves feel better, or even downplay your accomplishments to try to take away from the shine you're feeling. This isn't just about you. It's about their own unresolved issues with themselves. So, what do you do when you see this kind of behavior? The first step is to protect your energy. Your victories, no matter how big or small, are yours to enjoy. You've worked hard for them, and you deserve to feel proud. But not everyone is going to share in that joy with you, and that's something you need to be prepared for. Not every person in your life deserves to have access to your success, especially if they're going to tear it down or make you feel bad about it. It's okay to set boundaries around who you share your wins with. Protect your energy by choosing carefully who you let in when you're celebrating. The best thing you can do is surround yourself with people who lift you up. Choose friends who genuinely want to see you grow and succeed. These are the people who will be by your side cheering you on, no matter what. And when you feel this kind of support, it's easier to keep moving forward without letting anyone's negativity slow you down. The people who celebrate your wins without jealousy, who encourage you to reach even higher, are the ones you want in your corner. Protect your energy by investing in those relationships and being cautious about how much of yourself you share with those who can't handle seeing you thrive. Because at the end of the day, your success is yours to enjoy, and anyone who can't handle that isn't someone you need in your life. It's hard enough to succeed without feeling like you have to tiptoe around people who don't want to see you shine. So, choose wisely who gets to be part of your journey. And remember, a true friend will always celebrate you, because they're proud of who you are, not just what you've done. Moving on to another huge red flag. When your friends gossip about you behind your back. If you've ever found out that someone you thought was your friend has been talking about you behind your back, it probably felt like a punch to the gut. Gossiping destroys trust and is one of the clearest signs that someone doesn't respect you. It's not just the act of talking behind your back. It's the disrespect, the lack of loyalty, and the violation of trust that comes with it. When someone gossips about you, they're showing you exactly how little they value your relationship. It's a sign that they don't have the maturity or decency to talk to you directly and work things out like an adult. One of the worst parts about gossip is that it's rarely just about what's said in the moment. If someone is talking badly about others to you, there's a very real chance they're doing the same thing to you when you're not around. It's like this. What they say about others, they'll say about you. If someone has no problem sharing your private details or making you the subject of their gossip, it's only a matter of time before you're the next target. This is a major warning sign. People who gossip often have a tendency to be petty, insecure, or even malicious, and they're just waiting for an opportunity to turn you into the next topic of conversation. There are some telltale red flags when it comes to spotting a gossiper. If you hear vague rumors or backhanded comments from someone, that's a good sign something shady is going on. It might start with something like, "Well, I heard that insert rumor here, but I don't know if it's true." Or, "I don't want to say anything, but..." These kinds of vague statements often lead to hurtful gossip, and the person sharing them is usually trying to get you to spill your own thoughts or stir the pot without taking any responsibility for it. Another major red flag is triangulation, when they try to involve other people in the situation, especially when they don't have all the facts. This could look like someone going to another friend and saying, "Did you hear what so-and-so said?" without ever bringing it directly to you. It's all about keeping the drama alive and spreading negativity. Now, if you found yourself in this situation, it can be really tough to confront someone about their gossip without sinking to their level. But standing up for yourself is crucial. You don't want to be the person who keeps quiet and lets the gossip slide. That just allows the disrespect to keep going. The key is direct confrontation, calmly and clearly telling the person that you know what's been said and how it's affected you. You can say something like, "I heard you've been talking about me behind my back, and I don't appreciate it. If there's something bothering you, I'd rather hear it directly from you." This approach lets them know you're aware of their actions, but without becoming defensive or petty yourself. Stay calm and assertive, and make it clear that gossip is not acceptable. At the same time, it's important to protect your own peace. Sometimes the best response is to silently distance yourself from the gossiper. You don't have to confront every situation head-on, especially if it's someone who you know won't change their behavior. Instead, pull back and limit your interactions with them. You don't have to be rude or confrontational. Just quietly remove yourself from situations where you know gossip will thrive. This sends a strong message that you don't tolerate that kind of negativity, and that you expect more from the people in your life. The ultimate goal here is to preserve your self-respect, and to make it clear that you won't let anyone undermine you or destroy your trust. Gossip can be incredibly toxic, but the power is in your hands to either stand up for yourself or walk away from it. If someone gossips about you, it's a huge violation of trust, and they're showing you that they don't value your friendship in the way you deserve. Protect your energy, trust your instincts, and never let someone else's gossip define your worth. Because in the end, the best kind of friendship is one where trust and loyalty are mutual, not something that gets torn down behind closed doors. Now that we've covered all the signs of disrespect and how to spot the toxic behaviors in your friends, it's time to take control and put them in their place. But it's important to remember that the ultimate goal isn't to start drama or to get revenge. The goal is to rebuild your sense of respect and protect your peace, which is something you totally deserve. Let's break down a simple plan to do just that. The first step is to identify who truly deserves access to your life. Not everyone who calls themselves a friend has earned the privilege of being in your inner circle. Think about the people in your life and ask yourself, who lifts me up? Who truly cares about my well-being? Who respects my boundaries and celebrates my successes? The people who deserve access to your life are the ones who show up with genuine love and respect. Anyone who constantly disrespects you, whether through gossip, belittling, or emotional manipulation, simply doesn't belong. Step 2 is to practice radical self-respect. This doesn't mean you need to become arrogant or self-absorbed. It means recognizing your worth and refusing to tolerate disrespect. One of the most powerful things you can do is set silent boundaries. Sometimes the most effective way to communicate your boundaries is not by saying anything, but by showing people through your actions that you won't tolerate certain behaviors. This could mean taking a step back from someone who continually disrespects you, or choosing to spend less time with people who drain your energy. Your actions speak louder than any words you could say, and this sets a clear standard for how you expect to be treated. Step 3 is to cut off or distance yourself from those who prove unworthy, without drama. This doesn't mean you need to cause a scene or make a big deal out of it. Sometimes the best way to handle people who have disrespected you is to simply remove yourself from the situation. If they're not adding value to your life, they don't deserve a place in it. You don't need to explain yourself or make an elaborate exit. Simply start creating space between you and them, and let your absence speak for itself. Over time, people will either respect your distance or they'll try to pull you back in. Either way, your peace of mind comes first. Step 4 is about attracting higher quality friends through stronger self-standards. When you start raising the bar for how you expect to be treated, you'll naturally start attracting people who share those same standards. Higher quality friends won't tolerate disrespect, gossip, or manipulation. They will respect your boundaries, celebrate your victories, and support you in healthy ways. By holding yourself to higher standards, you're creating an environment where only people who truly value you can thrive. Ultimately, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. If you continue to tolerate disrespect, that's the message you're sending out. But when you draw clear boundaries and protect your energy, you show the world that you value yourself and expect the same from others. By doing this, you not only protect your mental health, but also create space for better, more fulfilling relationships to blossom. You deserve respect, and it's time to start making sure that's what you get. To wrap things up, remember this: respect is something that's earned, demanded, and maintained. It's not about being too much or too sensitive. It's about setting standards for how you deserve to be treated. You have every right to expect respect from the people in your life, and you don't have to tolerate anything less. Start putting these strategies into action today and watch how your relationships shift for the better. Trust me, your future self will thank you for the boundaries you set and the respect you demand. Take control of your life, because you deserve it.